Top of the hour, and the breaking news is big. President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee now for President of the United States, has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate.
Well, facts still matter, so let's look back at his record. Walz's first executive order as governor was to create a diversity, equity, and inclusion council.
Just days ago, he said he would invest in a ladder company to defeat Donald Trump's border wall.
And he pushed socialism.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness. Just do the damn work.
Oh, wait, and there's more.
Are these supposed to be negative points? Because it seems like Fox are doing that thing they do when they pull up a graphic showing the issues that said Democrat supports, while basically just offering free airtime to some of the most popular positions in the country.
And he pushed socialism.
And that Governor Walz brings a lot of experience that she wanted on the ticket, not only his time in Congress, where he was, I think, the 7th most conservative Democrat in the House, someone who is a gun owner, someone who does have those Midwestern values, but his executive experience in Minnesota. And I've seen, and Jesse just radiated some of them, the attacks on him as a socialist. I don't know what kind of socialist runs the #6 best state in America for big business. Target is there for a reason. 3M is there for a reason. United Healthcare is there for a reason. General Mills is there for a reason. And the kinds of things that he has gotten past are exactly the kinds of things that Kamala Harris wants to talk about. Things like paid sick leave, $2.3 billion into public schools. He did a huge infrastructure bill.
Was this your top pick?
Yeah, actually it was. In the last couple of days, I was honestly happy with all 4 finalists. And if it had been Andy Beshear, Mark Kelly, Tim Walz, or Josh Shapiro, I would have been happy. But what you're going to see is the right trying to define him as Jesse did. But you're going to see that side-by-side picture of Tim Walz after he signed free school breakfast and free lunch. And someone like Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is a star in the Republican Party, got a prime speaking spot at the RNC, signing a bill to allow kids under 16 to be able to work. That is the contrast here. A guy who wants to put food in kids' bellies and someone who wants kids to be able to work. And he's the real deal. He is what J.D. Vance wishes that he were.
But anyway, for those keeping count, Kamala Harris went with the veteran teacher, football coach, and feeder of school kids, Tim Walz, as her VP pick. Meanwhile, Trump went with the only VP choice in history to score net negative points just days after being selected. A man so profoundly weird that Bed Bath & Beyond has his picture up.
Well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday, and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good. I love you guys.
Okay.
And while Walz is feeding hungry kids, he's capping his kids' chocolate milk at half a glass while picking up a dozen cinnamon buns for himself.
The negative net territory. Look at that. -6 points. I will tell you, Aaron, I have gone all the way back since 1980. He is the first guy after immediately following a convention, a VP pick, who actually had a net negative favorable rating. That is underwater. The average since 2000 is +19 points.
Vice President Kamala Harris decided today that Minnesota Governor Tim Walz would be her running mate. The 60-year-old Democrat and military veteran has made his state a bastion of liberal policy, and this year, one of the few states to protect fans buying tickets online for Taylor Swift concerts. So amidst a plethora of things that makes him a great choice, he's also a Swiftie.
Trump is trying to paint Vice President Harris as an ultra-liberal. Of all her potential running mates, you might have the most progressive record as governor. I know you were more of a moderate when you were in the House, but you've legalized recreational marijuana, you passed universal background checks on guns, you expanded LGBTQ protections, you implemented tuition-free college for low-income Minnesotans. There's free breakfast and lunch for school kids. Do you think your record is an asset to the ticket, or would it risk fueling Trump's attacks as you being a big government liberal?
Monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn, and women are making their own healthcare decisions. And we're a top 5 business state, and we also rank in the top 3 of happiness.
That's going to be expected. The reaction on Rupert Murdoch's Fox News was a steady mix of panic, fear, and the odd moment of sanity, which only then added to more insatiable ranting.
Well, facts still matter, so let's look back at his record. Walz's first executive order as governor was to create a diversity, equity, and inclusion council. He also supported open borders.
You know, he talks about this wall. I always say, let me know how high it is. If it's 25 feet, then I'll invest in the 30-foot ladder factory.
What do boys need tampons for?
I don't know about
Why
this
is he
tampon
giving
in the
little
back.
boys tampons?
Why is he giving illegals driver's licenses? Or that there's, I mean, if you look at any of the statistics relating to accidents with illegals, there's a real problem for Americans.
The most accidents are from undocumented people in
No,
America.
no, what I'm saying is when they get into accidents, they don't have insurance.
The theory of the case was for the presentation in Milwaukee during the convention is to go after those men and get them to vote in 2024, which would give Donald Trump a chance in Wisconsin, give him a chance in Michigan, and also in Pennsylvania, Brett.
I agree with you. I mean, this guy hunts. He ice fishes. You know, he's one of those guys. He talks about rural America and how Donald Trump doesn't understand it. On the flip side, Donald Trump and the former president and J.D. Vance are talking directly to those folks and trying to get those folks, just like they built that coalition Trump did in 2016. You know, listen, we just have to think about the party, the Democratic Party, the delegates themselves are really controlled by progressives. And, you know, if you think back to the power of Bernie Sanders after 2016, when Hillary Clinton goes on to get that nomination, you know, the power inside was very progressive. And it still may be because labor, you know, weighed in on the scales on this choice. Progressives in the party weighed in. And this is who Vice President Harris chose.
Hang on one second here, Brett. A lot of reaction coming in. I'm just going to read this for our viewers. Here's Ron DeSantis out of Florida. Harris Walz, most left-wing ticket in American history. Minnesota was ground zero for the BLM riots in 2020. Harris egged it on, and Walz sat by and let Minneapolis burn. So that's his initial reaction. Kellyanne Conway, who works with us here, she crunches numbers all over the country. She says, Tim Walz, ? What a relief. That on X right now. Jillian?
Walz did come to some sort of social media internet notoriety over the last week or so, Brett. He's given the credit for coining the term weird to describe the Republican ticket. That's obviously taken off among the Harris crowd. You think this may be a case of the campaign choosing the shiniest object in the room?
They like how he talks. They like how he addresses media interviews. He's been on our shows. He's not afraid to get, like J.D. Vance, he's not afraid to go to different places. He's not afraid to mix it up. He does speak in plain speak. He's a former football coach, you know, former teacher. He has that appeal, that affect.
And this is what essentially passes as regular programming on Fox News this past month, right? Now, I mean, they've never been known as the beacons of sound mind and level-headed judgment, but ever since Joe Biden dropped out and Kamala Harris stepped in to the presidential race, it's caused a political tsunami with all momentum shifting in the VP's favor. And as a result, they've really struggled to cope, resulting in heightened hate, racism, and misogyny directed at the Democratic candidate.
Breaking right now, Vice President Harris's campaign, which just began today, has announced a whopping $81 million fundraising haul since she entered the race. That is the largest 24-hour total of any candidate in U.S. history.
They held a primary. People, they had ballots. They filled out circles. They went to the voting booths. They spent money on advertisements.
I want to talk about is that
that's weird.
Whatever the strategy is now, it is working. So Kamala Harris is now running either tied or ahead in national polling. Same in the swing states. Her favorability, not just up 8 points, it's up 12 points. While Donald Trump has gone down 5.
She's the next
Don't
Obama.
do it.
She's going to win.
And J.D. Vance has gone down 8 points.
I'm so nervous.
Democratic enthusiasm is up 26 points.
She's only doing one thing. She's reading speeches.
Why are you saying, oh my God?
Because I'm like, we have to tease.
She's going to win. Oh my God.
Yeah, because we have to tease.
Kamala Harris, the next Barack Obama. It's a cultural phenomenon.
But with Walz announced, their fear only grew tenfold. And I'll tell you why. Walz is a Republican nightmare. It would be hard to find a more vivid representative of the American heartland, right? The guy's born in Nebraska. He joined the Army National Guard and became a teacher in Nebraska before moving to Minnesota, where he taught social studies and coached high school football. Very successfully, may I add.
This is a hard question. What about the Packers? Let's hear it.
We could beat them.
You guys have like a contest? The best driver?
Then we're going to go get some food, corn dog.
I'm vegetarian.
Turkey then. And
turkey's meat.
It's not a Minnesota turkey special.
Max says you being a big government liberal.
What a monster. Kids are eating and having full bellies so they can go learn.
He's everything they pretend to be. A family man that speaks to the concerns of middle America, someone who has a proven track record of swinging conservative voters. Walz upset a Republican incumbent in 2006 when he won in a largely rural southern Minnesota congressional district against a 6-term rep.
My name is Tim Walz, and I'm running for Congress here in southern Minnesota for several important reasons. But today I'd like to tell you about one issue that's very personal to me. I am a retired Command Sergeant Major in the Minnesota National Guard, and after years of firing artillery, I sustained severe inner ear damage. Because I have good health insurance provided through my employer, I was able to have surgery on my ear. As my ear healed, my hearing was gradually restored. One morning several weeks after the surgery, I awoke to a sound I couldn't identify. I asked my wife what I was hearing, and she told me, "Tim, that's your 4-year-old daughter, Hope." You see, Hope wakes up singing every morning. But I had never heard that sound until that day. I'm running for Congress because I believe we as a country have a moral obligation to ensure that every father can hear his daughter sing, that every citizen receives the best care our medical community has to offer. I'm Tim Walz, and I approve this message because I've heard how important healthcare is to everyone.
And during his time in office, Walz has championed veterans issues as opposed to, just paying lip service to them, then voting against bills that expand veteran care like Republicans do. And of course, unlike his counterparts across the aisle that fight harder for the rights of a bump stock as opposed to protecting kids from its usage, Tim Walz signed a bill to provide free school meals, both breakfast and lunch, for Minnesota students at participating schools, regardless of their family's income. So yeah, no wonder MAGA are in complete meltdown.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.